Welcome back to Hobby Universe Outdoors. I'm Len, and today we're going to be talking about the 3-point hitch system on this John Deere 2025R compact utility tractor. A lot of what we talk about today is also going to apply to the 1 Series or the 1025 and the 1023 tractors. What I wanted to talk about specifically and what we're going to work through is the limited lift height of the 3-point hitch system on these tractors. The tractor is not malfunctioning, there's nothing wrong with it, it's just how it was designed. And I've heard it from others, I experienced it myself. When I have an implement hooked to the back, I don't always get enough lift height to be able to do what I want to do with it. Especially like a good example, loading the thing on my trailer. If I have a box blade or maybe the rototiller hooked to the back of this tractor, trying to get it up the ramps and onto my trailer, it'll drag pretty bad. So my goal was to increase how much lift I can get out of this system. That's what we're going to work on today. Let's get started. From the factory, the tractor is going to come with 2 different style lift links. The one on the left is a fixed lift link. It's not adjustable. And the one on the right is adjustable. And the one on the right, so with that adjustment, what you can do is you can raise or lower just the right side of the 3-point hitch and whatever it is you have hooked to the back. So for instance, if you're using your box blade and you're redoing your driveway, your dirt or gravel driveway, you want a little bit of a crown in the center of the driveway. You don't want that perfectly flat. You need some runoff. So to introduce that crown, you lower the right side of that box blade a little bit. And that way, as you go over the driveway and you move that dirt and gravel, it's going to be a little bit lower on the right side, giving you that crown. So that's the reason you have the adjustable right lift link. What we're going to do today is we're going to remove the fixed lift link, and we're going to install another adjustable lift link on that side. And what's going to happen is that's going to increase the amount of lift we have. So I'm going to take some measurements right now to see where we're at. So it'll kind of be like a before and after. So we'll see where we're at, what our maximum lift height is. And then once we put that adjustable on, we'll see where we end up and we'll know exactly how much we gain. So we're going to measure the right side of the tractor first. And to the top of the radius of that arm, we're at about 23.5 inches. And I do have the tractor running because I want to make sure that the arms don't settle during these measurements. I want to make sure they're up as far as possible. Now we're going to measure the left side. And to the top of that radius, it's a heavy 23.5, but I'm going to call that close enough. We're within a 1/16 of an inch of the other side. Removing the fixed lift link is going to be very simple. We've got to remove this nut on the bottom. We've got a spring clip and then a pin up top. Once we take those out, we'll be able to remove the fixed lift link and install our adjustable lift link in its place. I put this trash can under the left arm just to kind of help support it while I'm taking this lift arm off. So I remove the spring clip. Then I remove the pin. Now I'm going to remove that nut. And there's our fixed lift link. This is the adjustable lift link that we're getting ready to install. But before we do that, there were just a couple little things I wanted to go over real quick. One of which was this nut on the top portion of the lift link. So the top and bottom are both threaded. And what the nut does is that keeps this thing from moving around. So you get this adjusted where you want it once it's on the tractor. And then you tighten that nut down against this other portion, and that'll lock it in place and keep it from, coming loose or accidentally adjusting on its own due to vibration or whatever you got going on. Something else I wanted to mention was the bottom portion is actually a left-hand thread. So righty-tighty, lefty-loosey on top, just like you'd expect, but the bottom is a left-hand thread. It's a turnbuckle, it's just the nature of the beast, it's how it has to be. Not a big deal, but it is something I just wanted to mention real quick. Before installing this adjustable lift link, I did adjust it a little bit so that it was roughly the same length as the fixed link. Should make install go a little bit easier. Initially, I had this lift arm balanced on top of a little garbage can. That's really not necessary. This thing isn't that heavy. It's not that difficult to work with. So I'm just going to put this up here. Got to slide the pin through, install the spring clip, and then reattach this link. Get our nut back on. Perfect. Fired up the tractor, made sure that these were as high as they could go. And I would expect the one on the right side to be exactly the same at 23.5, and it is. Now we're going to measure the one on the left side. And it is also at 23.5 inches. So these are perfectly level. Now that we confirmed that the arms are at 23.5 inches, which is where they were in their maximum position before we started, we can do that before and after comparison to see what we actually gained. And again, we had this adjustable lift link on the right side, but the only thing that would have changed had we adjusted that would have been the tilt, because the one on the left was fixed and it wouldn't allow us to get any increase or decrease in height. Now that we have that adjustable on both sides, you can see how much adjustment we have. I have that same amount of adjustment on the left side now. So rather than just introducing tilt to the 3-point system, I can tighten this one, and that's going to increase how high our implement comes off the ground. So I'm going to crank these in as far as they'll go, and then we're going to take another measurement and see how many inches we gained. So as before, I did fire up the tractor to make sure that these arms were up as far as they could go. And I don't know if you can see that. We are at 29.5 inches to the top of this arm. So that's a substantial increase. That's 6 inches that we gained at the back of this arm. Now we'll check the left side as well. I would expect it to be roughly the same. 29.5 inches, actually just a little bit lower. So we're very close to being level. So 29.5 inches from 23.5 inches is a pretty substantial increase. Now that we got this all installed, it's all buttoned up, I'm going to put my eye match on the back of this tractor and I'm going to hook up my box blade. I literally have about 4 inches of solid ice in my driveway. The weather's just been total crap, and we had snow and it melted and then it froze and then it melted and it snowed. So again, 4 inches of ice. I put salt down, that's not touching it. So I'm going to hook up my eye match, I'm going to hook up the box blade, and I'm going to extend those teeth down on the box blade a little bit, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to tear up and break up some of that ice. I'm actually skeptical. I don't think it's going to work, but I've been surprised before when I tried doing stuff like that with this tractor, so we're going to give it a shot. One thing I did want to mention that I briefly mentioned at the beginning of the video is that this process and swapping out that fixed lift link with an adjustable one will also work on the 1 series tractors. So the 1025 or the 1023, you can do that as well. The difference is the part number is not going to be the same as what it is for the 2025R. For the 2025R, the part number I bought was LVA 22575, and that was an OEM part. So I bought a John Deere adjustable link for this. It was about $100. That's not horrible. For comparison, you can find them on Amazon actually, and they're not going to be John Deere OEM equipment for like $50, so about half the cost. For me, that extra $50 isn't going to make or break me, and I would rather have OEM equipment when I can get it, so I got the John Deere version. If you have a 1 series tractor and you want to look at doing this on yours, your part number will be LVA 16296. LVA 16296 for the 1 series. Again, 2 series, LVA 22575. One more thing I wanted to mention real quick, and I feel it's pretty important, a word of caution. If you're hooking up any kind of an implement to the back of your 3-point system on the back of your tractor that utilizes a PTO shaft to power it, like a rototiller, you're going to want to make sure that you keep an eye on that, especially the first time you use that implement and you put that PTO shaft on, if you've made this change, increasing the lift height. Because when you increase that lift height, you also change the geometry in which that 3-point system operates. Now that it's able to go up that much higher, the length of the shaft that can be accepted on here might also change a little bit. I know for sure when I hooked up my rototiller after making this change, I had to decrease the length of the PTO shaft. And with that being said, spoiler alert, I actually made this change. I put that adjustable lift link on the left side a couple years ago. I already knew there was going to be a pretty substantial increase in elevation gain, but I wanted to make the video, so I put the old one back on and worked through it. I will say this is the first time I've actually measured it to see what the gain was. I was surprised with the 6 inches, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, if you decide to do this to your tractor and you have an implement on the back that uses a PTO shaft, be very, very careful. Keep an eye on that PTO shaft length and cut it down if you need to make sure it doesn't bind and damage the gearbox. Well, there you go. That is my process for increasing the lift height on the 3-point system on a John Deere 2025R. I'm going to go in the house and wash these hands. I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe you learned something from it. If you enjoy content like this and you're not already a subscriber, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Again, thank you for taking the time to watch. Be safe. Enjoy the rest of your day.